Hello, my friends. Welcome to CJ Reads Books. I'm CJ, and today we will be talking about all the books that I've completed in February 2025. All that I read, what rating I gave it, and which ones were my favorite. Let's go. So first of all, I started the month off with I Am Death by Chris Carter, and I gave this book a 4 stars. It was so well written. The thriller was thrilling. The plot was plotting. Everything just came together at the end. You didn't suspect it at all. It was wonderful. It was fantastic, and it was great. I enjoyed every second of it. After that, I read Carrie by Stephen King, and I gave it 2 stars. I didn't like the way that it was written. I haven't read very many Stephen King books so far. I finished Shining. I did Doctor Sleep, which is the sequel to The Shining. And then I did the 3 Gwending books that he helped co-write. And then I did Carrie. Right now, I'm finishing up Firestarter. But it's just the POV switches. Stephen King likes to do that really weirdly and without warning and without letting you know what's going on. So I found myself trying to switch between POVs and was really, 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 really confused. Next up is the Kaiju Preservation Society by John Scalzi. I gave it a 4 stars. At first, I thought this was like a Native American novel. I guess because preservation, I'm not quite sure why. But turns out that it was a sci-fi novel and it was very, very good, super interesting, super amazing, super awesome. I enjoyed it. It threw me for a loop. I did not realize what it was. It was on my TBR, and I just happened to get it from the library, and I was surprised. I was pleasantly surprised. It was a really good book. Next is Eat the World by Marina something or other. I can't remember her last name. I am so sorry. The thumbnail is right over here. I gave it 4 stars. It's a collection of poetry. I used to think I was a poet. I don't anymore. People who write poetry write beautifully and are so eloquent with their words and emotions and stuff. I am not one of those. I am more of a fiction fantasy writer. Next is Firefly Lane by Kristen Hanna. This was this month's book club book from Catherine, and it was amazing. I gave it 5 stars. It was phenomenal. It was beautifully written. Now, I had cheated and watched the Netflix series first, so I kind of already knew what was going on. But I think whether or not you watch that first or second, it doesn't matter because it was written so beautifully. I cried 65% of that book. That book was written so well. So well, in fact, that I did go ahead and pick up the sequel, and it is actually coming from the library. Next one I read is Space Unicorn Blues by TJ Berry. Now, that only got a 2 stars from me. It is a sci-fi book, and obviously from the cover, it's about unicorns or a specific unicorn, and he does stuff, and he just does stuff with people and things and stuff. That's the best way I can explain it without ruining anything. There are several characters that get introduced in there, and I didn't like any of them. I do not recommend this book, but if you're into sci-fi, I've seen some really good reviews about it. And if you're into that kind of stuff and into a bunch of random stuff, because I felt like there was too much plot to the storyline. It was just plot and then twist and then plot and then another twist and then another plot, and I'm just like, I was really confused. The next book I read was Gwendy's Final Task by Stephen King and Richard Chismar. That's the co-written book. It got 3 stars for me. It was a nice little wrap up to the trilogy, and I felt that it definitely full circled it. It did have a little bit of politics in it. The main character is a senator in this one, so I wasn't too much of a fan for that one, but it did move. And like I said, the whole story, he could have left it so open-ended, but he wrapped it up in a nice little bow, and they did really well with it. The next one I read was Hex by Emily McIntyre. 2 stars. I thought this was going to be a fantasy book. It is definitely not fantasy. It's like fiction, contemporary romance. Lots of spice. So if you like spice, this is your way to go. I don't read romance usually. Romance is a trope that I like to stay far away from, because if you're going to be unrealistic, at least add some elves and dragons and fairies. Like, I understand it's fictional, and I understand romance books are for people who dream of other stuff that they can't have, whatever it is that romance readers like about romance. I still don't get it. I don't plan on getting it. I'm going to continue trying to read romance books, but I didn't get it. The whole forbidden love kind of concept, all the tropes they go over my head, because I'm like, well, you ain't supposed to love who you love. Yes, there's a time and a place for everything. I'm like, I don't get it. So, yeah. And the last book that I read for February is There Are Places in the World Where Rules Are Less Important Than Kindness by Carlo Rovelli. And I only gave it a 2 stars. It was very sciencey. It's supposed to be very philosophical, but it was too sciencey, as was his other books, 7 something about physics or something like that. And I don't read science well. In fact, I don't read anything that is like school well. So I am currently trying to finish a 10th book for February. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to get it read, but I might, which is why I'm kind of not putting it on here. But I am working on Firestarter by Stephen King. It's good so far. I like it so far. It's way more better than Carrie did, which I think is going to be like my lowest expectation for his books. It is definitely higher than the whole Gwendy trilogy, so I'm really excited about that. It's a good concept, it's well written, and I really like it so far. I'm only like, I think 60 or 80 pages in, so I may finish it tomorrow, but just in case I didn't, I just wanted to go on here and let you know that I am reading it, but I may or may not finish. So, those are all the books that I read for February of 2025. If I had to pick favorites, let's see, I had 9 books, so we can pick 3 favorites. I would definitely pick Firefly Lane by Kristen Hanna. Yeah, it was a romance and it was a fiction book, but it was so well written, and there was no like, there were times where I hated one of the characters so much and was like, why are you doing this? She's your best friend, leave her alone. But also like, girl, get off your butt and go do the thing you want to do. It was so real. That got a 5 stars for me. That's one of my favorites. I think my second favorite has to be the Kaiju Preservation Society by John Scalzi. I'm not gonna ruin it for anyone because I think I've read the back cover, but it was just so unexpected, and unexpected in the best way possible, because what could be better about saving a bunch of unique animals, and like that, it's so cool. And the thing was that it blew me out of the water how unexpected it was, how good it was. So that was cool. My third favorite for this month is I Am Death by Chris Carter. I really, like I said before, I really should read more thrillers because this was awesome. The ending was unexpected. I was not expecting that. The POV switches were awesome because it, it left an air of uncertainty, so much so that it didn't prepare me for what was happening at the end and the big reveal at the end, and it was really awesome. But yeah, those are my books for February. If you like my content, if you like all my book reviews, please like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Anything helps. Like, I do this just for fun. I'm not planning on getting any monetary value out of this, but it's so much fun. And if I could make this a thing where I get like maybe, $5 a month out of this, I would be happy, honestly. But yeah, click all my buttons, tell your friends about my channel. Also, in the description link, I have links for my Etsy store, which I sell blind dates with the books. I have a link to buy me coffee, so you can send me some money to buy me some coffee. I have my Discord link, and also I have my Twitch link where I play games sometimes when I'm not working and lazy and stuff. So yeah, thank you very much for joining me on this lovely adventure of reading. I still can't believe that I read 10 books a month. Like, that is baffling to me. Yeah, certain hyperfixations, reading is definitely one of them, but it's just so great to be able to do what you enjoy doing all month. Like, and like, it's awesome. So, thank you so much for all the support and all the comments and all the cool stuff. I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.